Yeah, tell us about yourself and your district.
Yeah, so I'm Dave Mayo-Kiely. I'm the homeless liaison for the Anchorage School District. Anchorage is the largest city in Alaska and the largest school district. We have approximately 45,000 students, and historically we've identified about between 2,000 and 2,500 homeless students a year. So roughly around 4 to 5% of our student population meets mckinney-vento criteria. Our numbers went down last year towards the end of the year as we went into the pandemic and went online with school. And we just didn't have as much of an opportunity to identify those kids that we weren't seeing on a daily basis.
So that's something I'm hearing from districts, around the country. And I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about maybe just the top 1 or 2 challenges you're worried about as you prepare to go back to school.
So one of the big ones is we are starting online this year. We have enough cases, active cases in Anchorage, that we made the decision about a month ago to move to fully online school. And so one of my biggest challenges that our students are facing is just connectivity. We do have a lot of families that don't have internet in their home, and we're working to do that. Our district has partnered with the largest internet provider in Anchorage to provide assistance to get people connected. But that's kind of a somewhat slow rollout. So that's in process. But that's a huge challenge. Then also with the internet is Chromebooks. Our district's done a pretty good job of getting Chromebooks out. They're actually delivering them to students as we speak via buses. You just simply need to go to your school, request a Chromebook. The goal is to make sure that everybody who wants a Chromebook can get one. But like many districts, we've ordered a bunch, but they're on back order right now. But I know they are being delivered via school buses to students as we speak. We start school in a few days, and I haven't heard an update today, but I know they have been putting lots and lots of Chromebooks out. So hopefully a lot of our families are getting connected. But sort of related to that, the connectivity piece is that, as people know, a lot of our families change phone numbers frequently. Phones get disconnected. And so we're just having challenges reaching families. We've been hearing from schools consistently of, we haven't been able to find this family. Have you guys talked to them? And we do the numbers we have for them. And, sometimes we get through and sometimes we don't. And so, the connectivity on all levels, because some families are not as connected to what's even going on in the district as others are. We heard from a family just last week or 2 weeks ago that they didn't know that schools were online. And even though the district has pushed out lots of information, it's been all over the news, but some people just aren't connected to those things, so are totally unaware. So that's a big one. And then kind of related to that, another big issue is just, how do we make sure that these kids succeed academically, in that online environment? Our district has done a lot of steps over the summer to make sure that our online experience is much better than it was last year. It's much more thought out and academically focused, and there's check-in times. They're going to take attendance via Zoom, and there's breaks built in. But still, it's going to be an issue academically as we just move to this platform. I do know we're going to take a slow start to our school year, knowing that there's going to be a lot of challenges that come up, and just try to address them as we go along. Another issue is food for our families. We did a great job last spring with delivering meals and having food sites around the district. We used, as most districts did, the summer feeding guidelines, and so we were able to feed just about anybody that showed up. Actually, anybody that did show up under 18, they got a meal. This year, we're following the student nutrition guidelines, and so we have a little more challenges with that, and that there's more accountability in getting reimbursed for those meals. And so the district is having families sign up for meals in order to get a meal, and that's kind of a slow rollout right now. There's some bugs happening with that, but we're working through them. I know we have a meeting tomorrow with student nutrition to make sure that these bugs get fixed, and that basically if we have students that need food, that they're getting food, whether it be at a site that they're walking to or whether it's being delivered to them by a school bus.
But you and your team in Anchorage have always been really creative about responding to challenges, and I know you're doing that now with COVID. So tell us a little bit about some of the strategies you're working on for all these different challenges. And I guess we had talked about transportation as a challenge, but I guess that's kind of off the table at the moment. So just whatever you're doing that you feel good about.
Yeah, I think, just reconnecting with all of our partners and letting them know that as they see families that are coming in, whether they be coming in for food assistance, rental assistance, utility assistance, to let them know that we're out there. And even though they may not be in a homeless situation right now, we encourage them to contact us, so they at least have our information for when and if they do enter homelessness. Putting flyers up at places around town so people are aware, doing outreach to schools to make sure as they're contacting families, to let them know that we're out there, and that if they've lost their housing for any reason, to contact us. We do a student housing questionnaire every year. And this is always a blitz times for us, but we've actually had a little bit more time to deal with some of those this year. So we've been doing just a big blitz of just contacting people, going through the families that we had last year that we may not know if they qualify this year, but just reaching out and saying, hey, what's your current living situation? We never really have as much of an opportunity to do that because we're just blitzed with school start. But this year we've got a little bit more time for that. So we are reaching back to families and saying, you were in the program last year, what's your living situation? Do you qualify again this year? And here's the services we can provide. But those are the big things that we're doing, and we're looking for creative ideas because we do know we're missing families, and we're just trying to figure out ways to make sure we get anybody that's eligible into our program.
That's great. Anything else in terms of community partners? I know you have a very robust community partnerships across the area. What are some of the partners that you're really relying on right now?
Probably our biggest one is Lutheran Social Services. They're a huge prevention provider in Anchorage and food distribution site. And so their director, Alan Boudall, and I are, constantly in communication to figure out, what family needs are. We have done pretty well with prevention in Anchorage. And so there's been a number of resources to keep people in their houses or their homes. And so we're just trying to keep our finger on the pulse of that. So we're prepared when people are no longer able to pay their bills and things like that they know about us. And then just working closely with Catholic Social Services. They're one of the big shelter providers. So making sure that the kids that are there are set up with supplies they need for school and they're connected with us. The other shelter providers as well. Salvation Army is a big one too. And then we've actually done a decent job of getting some people housed in Anchorage. And so working with our partners at Cook and Lit Housing, Alaska Housing, and NeighborWorks Anchorage to make sure that if we are moving people from a homeless situation into housing, that they're still connected with us so we can maintain that school stability even in a virtual world right now.
Well, thank you, Dave.